everybody. I see some of you guys watching, so hi. I'm just waiting to kind of see what's going on with my computer here. Sorry, it took me a minute and I'm running late. Um, Let me make sure you guys hear me, right? Like, I think you do. I think there would be people hearing me. Okay, so I wanted to do a few dream interpretations and talk to you guys about like how to interpret dreams. And I'm doing it a little bit earlier than I usually do it because I wanted to kind of like get it out there with some examples for people just to kind of understand how dreams work and how to interpret them. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my phone because I'm pulling up the dreams that people sent us. So I'm just going to do a couple like live interpretations. I'm not going to tell you who the dreams belong to because I'm sure that the person is either watching or they'll watch later just because I did this at an earlier hour than usual. Hi to everybody who's saying hi to me. I'm glad you can hear me. So we're just going to do a few dreams and I'm going to talk to you about dreams. So I have them right in front of me, I do believe. Yep, there we go. Okay, so I'll do those live here in just a minute, but I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about how dreams work. Because there's two, and you guys are welcome to ask me questions in the comments and I'll read those as I go. But there's two different kinds of dreams that people have. So you either have the psychological ones, which help provide insight and understanding into your life. And then you have the ones where visits with spirits. And the ones, I can just clear this up now, the ones that are visits with souls that come to see you, those are your loved ones coming to visit you while you're sleeping or while your energy is not necessarily like conscious. So they're visiting you in your unconscious because that's the place where your soul resides. And so your soul and their souls may meet. And you always know it's a dream with a loved one visiting because you remember it and you remember it was like yesterday. So I've had dreams like that with loved ones, but then I've also had kind of like crazy dreams about like seeking them out, trying to find them or finding out that they weren't really dead. And I feel like, like, I mean, my understanding is that sometimes our mind when we're sleeping doesn't necessarily understand the things like we do when we're awake. For example, you might have a dream where you're seeking a loved one and finally you find them and you make the connection. And when you make the connection, you're like, oh, you're not dead, you're here. And in that, they are coming to visit, but your subconscious mind, your grieving mind is also part of that. So I just want to say that to you guys that's what like dreams with loved ones look like. But there's also dreams that are your subconscious mind trying to help bring some healing or help you understand something. So the way that works is like, say you have a dream and you remember your dream, because sometimes people don't actually remember their dreams. But say you remember your dream or you just remember parts of it. It's very important to remember the actions that you take in the dream and also kind of like any memorable things of the dream. So actions and memorable things of the dream. So I will give you guys an example and I'll get to your questions here in just a second. But I will give you an example. In my day-to-day life a few years ago, I was going through like hard, like when you look at yourself and you're kind of like, oh, well, I got to fix that. I got to deal with that. I was going through a lot of stuff and it was really heavy emotional stuff. And I kept having these dreams that I was swimming in the ocean, but I was in this cordoned off area where there were like hypodermic needles and dirty diapers and shit. And I was swimming through it. And I kept swimming, even though I knew how dirty the water was. I just kept going. And now when I look at like dream interpretation, as far as like the psychological meaning and what it means. So the psychological meaning of that dream is, one, there was water, and one, there was like dirty stuff in the water and I was swimming through it. So those are like three big things that I can use to help me interpret it in the psychological sense. So like I was going through that hard emotional stuff, and in my dream, I was swimming through water, and water is always symbolic of emotion within your dreams. So I was swimming through this dirty water, and the dirty water was what I was going through emotionally, was like going through those dirty emotions, those things you don't want to deal with. And so I had the action of what I was doing. I was swimming. I had where I was in the water. It wasn't so important that it was the ocean or it was a swimming pool. It just was important that I was in the water. And the other important part is that I kept going. And so when I woke up and went to translate that dream, that's kind of what it meant psychologically. So if you want to interpret your dreams yourself without a psychic, you can go to Google and just to put in like dream interpretation meaning zucchini or something like that and find out what it means. There's all kinds of dream books and all kinds of stuff out there to help you. But often when we're sleeping, our regular norms and values and stuff are not necessarily in play. So for example, like if you have like at work, someone takes something off your desk and you know they took it off your desk and you're kind of pissed about it, but you don't feel like you can say anything. In your dream, you may murder them. And it doesn't mean that you actually want to do that. It just means that that filter of our beliefs and values and societal norms is off. And so in the dream state, you can kind of go in any direction you want or handle it however you want. So I just want to point that out because sometimes dreams seem crazy, but actually it might be your subconscious mind trying to work with you, or it could also be that you're connecting with a soul in the spirit world. So let me see what's in the comments. And then I also have like a bunch of messages that people sent. So I'm just going to do a few of them, but let me read what's going down here. Okay. Hi, Kyla. I know Kyla. Okay. Kyla, a dream where I was with my father. I knew he was gone, but gave him a huge hug and pulled away, and he was gone in my arms. I kept telling myself he was gone during the whole thing, and I woke up. So that was a visit from your dad. He was coming to visit you. Like, so your conscious mind is trying to make sense of everything. Like, no, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. But the thing is you remember it really well. And I know your dad's in the spirit world. And so I know he was coming to visit you. And so that particular dream that Kyla spoke of here earlier in the comments is a dream that's a visitation. But then your human self is in there saying like, this doesn't make any sense. They're not alive. And so it's like, you got to kind of understand that some of the feelings you have in a dream might seem very surreal considering the fact that you're having a visit from someone. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I dreamed of the same house where Mead used to live, and I would visit on the weekends. So Kelly, that's another like loved one visit. So, and then for you guys who said, somebody said, what if I never dream of my friends or family? That has nothing to do with anything because they're always trying to connect with you. Okay. It just depends on like, if you're ready for it, if that soul can make that connection with you. Sometimes you get into those deep sleeps and you don't really remember your dreams. And so the spirit world is always connecting with you, but sometimes we're not recognizing that. And that's, you know, that's not a bad thing. It's just kind of how it is. And so sometimes they may not visit you, or they may only visit you after. Like, for instance, my kid's dad, Mike, I had probably like 3 or 4 really significant dreams about him a long time ago. And now I don't dream about him at all. But I know he's around because I just look for signs for him, and there's tons of signs for him. So it's the same thing with your loved ones. I'm no different. It's that they'll just come when they can, when the time is right, when the recipe is right. But before then, if they're not visiting, look for signs that they're around you, because that's just as important. Okay, so I'm going to read some of these dreams here. I'm not going to say who the people are, but I'm going to read the email, but if it's for you, then you can just listen. And if you want to say it's you, that's fine. But I wanted to kind of keep people's privacy kind of, private if they didn't want to share their dreams. So it says, my husband committed suicide and I keep having a couple of reoccurring dreams. One is that he left me and I go out and search for him and I find him and ask him repeatedly to come home and he says no. The other one is the same, but when I find him, he is dying and falls over and I keep trying to pick him up and get him help. These keep happening almost every night to the point where I'm scared to go to sleep. Okay. So, let me say this about those dreams, okay? So, first of all, when someone dies that way, like suicide, it's freaking rough. I know, I've been there. It sucks, especially when it's like a boyfriend or husband or something like that. I know that one particularly well. And so it's not an easy thing to deal with. So your subconscious mind is trying to make sense of things. However, when you find him, that's his soul. Just like I said earlier, that's his soul coming to visit. When you're looking for him and he's dying and you're trying to make sense and trying to save him in the dream, most likely there are feelings about that connected with his death as well, that you would still like wish you could have saved him or helped him in some way. But the dream where you go up to him, but you ask him to come home, when you ask him to come home, he's going to say no, but it doesn't mean that his soul isn't there visiting you. And I can give you an example from my own experience is that I had some pretty significant dreams about Mike after he died. One of them, I just walked up to him in the hotel corridor and gave him a hug, and that was it. And then another one, I walked into this room. It was like a big room with a big oak door, but I felt like I was in a hospital. And I walked in and he was hanging out watching TV. And I'm like, and I remember this dream like it was yesterday. This dream is like almost 15 years ago now. And I remember it was like yesterday. And that's how loved ones feel in dreams, is like you were, like it was a real experience you had. And so anyway, in this first dream, I go into the room and he's in there and I see him and I was like, oh, there you are. And so I'm like sitting there, I'm like, what are you doing here? And he was watching something very important on TV that to me, I thought was Law and Order because that was his favorite show. But in reality, he was probably reviewing his life or doing something like that, something to that effect. And I remember telling him that I wanted to stay. And he said, you can't stay here. I'll visit you later. And that was it. That was it. And I couldn't stay and I had to leave. And I was kind of joking with him and he was very serious after he died. And then a few weeks later, I had a dream about him where he was in like it almost looked like a funeral parlor. But I looked out the window and it was just like this grassy field. And, you know, it's just striking me as I'm saying this. Who would ever think that a silly dream like that would be so significant in my life and change everything? But it did. So I'm there and I'm looking out the window and I see like this weird clown on a unicycle handing me a yellow flower. And I turn around and look and Mike's right there. And we sat and caught up and talked. And I felt like it was very real. And I still haven't forgotten that to this day. And that is a feeling of a loved one visiting you. But I've also had many dreams with him where I was searching for him, trying to find him, looking for him. And then I finally find him and I'm like, you weren't dead. You're still here. Like, come back with me. And he never did. And that is because I was visiting the spirit world. It's almost like my subconscious mind had gotten so riled up that my soul had to make that connection in order to calm me down. So to the person who sent that email, you are going to experience more dreams like that. And it is because you're dealing with your grief. But know that he'll show up in your dream whenever it's truly needed for him to be there. So I just want to say that to you guys because it's like a little dicey, you know, like figuring out like what's the spirit world, what isn't, and sometimes that connection of the two together. But I can just tell you that when the spirit world communicates, they're not stressed or troubled or anything like that, but we remember them that way because of how they died. So, okay. Stephanie, I often dream of people I don't recognize, but in my dreams, we are very close. Okay. So those dreams are like souls that are old friends. You're connecting with the spirit world and you're connecting with people that love you. So your souls are old friends, even though you might not recognize them. But that's that feeling of familiarity and like, this is good. We're friends. It's all well. And so just keep that in mind. Let me see what else I got here. I dream of people's deaths and turn out true, but different than in the dreams. Only those I'm close to. Okay. So here's the thing with people that we dream about in our dreams. Okay. We have these energetic connections. And so we have these energetic connections with people. And that's kind of like that thing in there that Stephanie said that sometimes she feels like she just like dreams of people and doesn't recognize them. It's because their souls are old friends. But in your case, for where am I? Was it of like premonition kind of stuff? Is that people that you are connected to, you're going to be intricately connected to, like connected to their energy and connected with whatever's going on with them. And so those dreams may happen to you as like a precognition, or you're seeing something before it actually happens. But sometimes there's not much you can do about that. It's just an awareness. It's awareness like when there used to actually be newspapers that were printed and you'd like read everything in the newspaper, but like 90% of it didn't pertain to you. So you're just whoever said that, Delana, you're just kind of tuned in to the atmosphere, kind of like to the energy, to the atmosphere of your loved ones, because we all have those connections. So that's what I want to say to you. And I will get back to some of the other ones on there. I have a couple here in my thing. So one, someone has a dream of my sister-in-law, and every time I see her, she just smiles at me and doesn't talk to me. So I'm thinking your sister-in-law is in the spirit world. So I just want to acknowledge that sometimes what they have to say, because language is a human thing, but the language, like like when you think of someone and then they call you or something, that kind of telepathic connection, that energetic connection, is how they may connect to you in the dream. So she might not be saying hi. She might only be smiling at you, but her heart is speaking to your heart. And so your souls are connected. It says, I dream that my husband is cheating on me with his ex-girlfriend. Sometimes I feel like it's real. So when I wake up, I want to kick him out of the bed. Oh, I've had dreams like that too. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's real. It might just mean that you have some trust issues there. Or you feel like it might not be him, actually. It might be that someone else close to you in your life, you might feel like they're not on the up and up with you, or they're lying to you. And that seems much more of a subconscious dream than anything to do with the spirit world. And then also, I dream of my ex, and it's been over 10 years. Okay, here's the thing. All right, and this happens to me. I think, I can't even tell you how many times this freaking happened. But it's like sometimes when you're energetically connected to someone, and honestly, when you're really intimate with someone, even if they're an ex, your energy is connected to them. So you might like be totally over it, and then you randomly think of them or have a dream about them or something like that. But the thing is they may be thinking about you. Okay, so I've had that happen, and then heard from people like a few times, and I'm like, I'm not necessarily like wanting to connect, but out of curiosity, I've asked, I'm like, were you like really thinking about me lately or something? Because like I'll have a dream about someone. And so sometimes our energetic connections to people, they just kind of go on and on, even though you might not be with them, even in the living world, but that energetic connection still remains. So I just want to say that that's just some of the dreams I've got. I've got another one. It says, I dream that I'm forced to live with my ex. All these dreams about exes. Okay, I dream that I'm forced to live with my ex again for some reason, and forced to endure more abuse and humiliation. I'm always left feeling defeated for the rest of the day, and I have these dreams. After I have these dreams. So here's the thing, okay? For the person who said this. So I don't know if she's tuning in now, or maybe she'll tune in later and watch the video. We often have dreams of our exes, and people that we're even with. And it's not that uncommon that we would like connect with them, or like it comes into the dream state. But in that particular case, for this particular dream that I just spoke about, my feeling is that there would be areas in your life where you're feeling like you're trapped. And whatever those areas are, they remind you of the trapped feeling of being with your ex. So that's what I would say about that particular dream. And the thing is don't let it defeat you, because it's something in your life that you can change that's going on, is kind of my sense there. So I don't know what that is, but my feeling is you have more power in your life than you feel like you do, but you're feeling trapped, because of whatever, because of situation, because of whatever. So I just wanted to cover that one. And don't worry, I'll get to the ones that are on the chats. I'll get to that in just a second. I just think having dreams to actually like sit there and interpret with you guys is way better than just talking about it, but like having actual examples. All right. So last dream that we got an email. I had a dream last night that I was driving around with a guy I haven't met before. We were just going to drive around as a date. And last minute, he decided to leave me at an airport in the cities because he was going to fly away somewhere. So I had to find a flight home. The airport was run down and I accidentally started a fire. It was spreading so fast, I could hardly put it out. I never did find the main entrance. And I think I have had that airport in my dreams before. Okay, so that's kind of like an interesting dream for us to interpret. And thank you for sending that in such detail. Okay, so you're going on a date. So we have the date thing happening there. We have you're at a location of an airport, so you're driving. So let me break some of this down for you. Any dream where you dream of driving is dreaming about your life, your journey. So sometimes you're in the passenger seat and sometimes you're in the driver's seat. Now, in this particular dream, there's connections here with dating and love and all of that, but it's someone that you haven't met. My thought is that there would be some part of you that is looking for a relationship or something, but maybe having some past issues with them taking off or leaving kind of unexpectedly and being forced to figure it out on your own is kind of my thought with this. That's what that dream looks like. But can you see how maybe I came up with that interpretation? Because I don't think only a psychic can interpret dreams. I think the best person to interpret your dream is you. So you got to pay attention to what's going on in the living world. And then you got to pay attention to like all the different like pieces and parts of the dream. So in this particular dream, she's on a date. She's driving around with some guy. So you have to pay attention to whether he was in the driver's seat or whether he was in the passenger seat. Odds are he was in the driver's seat and you were in the passenger seat. So because you're in the passenger seat, it might feel like you don't have that much control over your love life. And because you were just dropped off at an airport somewhere and trying to figure it out, most likely that someone has abandoned or left you in the past and you still haven't been able to make any sense of it. And so that's my interpretation of the dream, because that's a healing dream, or like your subconscious is trying to heal you. So that is not necessarily like a premonition dream. And that's not necessarily like a dream where it's like crossing in and out of the spirit world. My sense is that dream is fully like on a psychological level. And a lot of our dreams are. So let me see what else we have here. I'm just going through them as fast as I can. Okay. So Bridget, after my dad died, I dreamt that he called me and we chatted and about how he was doing on the other side. That's awesome. Christina, I dreamed that my mom, who has passed, is around and my stepdad is trying to find her, but she runs and hides from him and tells me I'm not ready for him yet. And so, you know what? The thing is, for Christina CK, your mom may very well not be ready. Like, I find that souls in the spirit world try to inspire healing in the living world, but they heal themselves in the spirit world. I don't think that it's that she's hiding from him or anything. My thought is that he might not be ready to have a message from her yet. And it's as simple as that, is what I would say. Okay. So let me see here. Toby, Delana. Hi, Toby. Katie Woodruff. I have dreams about a specific ex-boyfriend all the time. He's married with children, and it's always that he's leaving her or she's left him, and it's given us another chance. So that particular dream, I'm going to say there might be issues with that ex, or the way that relationship, maybe it didn't heal. Maybe there's like loose ends there. But generally, when you have someone show up in a dream that's been in your life before, there's some significance to them thinking about the same thing. So I'm not saying that that he's not thinking about you, but I'm also not saying like I think that the truth of it is that he's leaving or whatever. I don't think that's true either. I feel like you probably cross his mind, he crosses your mind, and there's still some unhealed stuff in that. So I just want to say that. Can you talk about dreams where your teeth are falling out? Absolutely. Your teeth are not falling out. What teeth falling out in a dream represents is that you don't feel like you're effectively communicating with the people in your life. That's really all that means, is that you want to communicate better, or you don't feel like you're getting the message across. That's generally how it works when your teeth are falling out. Also, like other dreams where you feel like you're dying in a dream, that's a rebirth in some way. Anytime there's water in the dream, there's something connected with like a deep emotional thing. And a lot of that stuff you can find in dream books. So I would encourage you to look at like dream symbology and what all that stuff means, because sometimes like getting a visit from a loved one is awesome, but sometimes like figuring your shit out is equally awesome, like figuring out what it is that you're struggling with or something. So I just want to say that to you, and just point that out. So hopefully, Katie, that you understand what that means. And then lastly, I'll just do this one for Vinny. And what are your thoughts on not being able to remember your dreams on a nightly basis unless you are seriously do some meditation before? Okay, perfect. This is a perfect way to wrap this up. So if you want to remember your dreams and you can't, the best thing to do, and I know this sounds like such a silly thing, but it's all about intention. Have a glass of water by your bed. Say to yourself, when I sip this, I'm going to remember my dream, or I'll remember part of my dream. And the other thing is that often, like, especially like our psychological dreams, they fall out of our head pretty quickly. So it's really important to like have a journal or something next to you so that you're able to write those things down. And even if you could just remember the action or the feeling you had when you woke up, that's very important to dream interpretation. So that is my little thing on dream interpretation. And I do love interpreting dreams. Wait, hold on. Same vivid dreams and often spiritual. For example, feeling almost a spiritual warfare, spirit trying to mentally torture me and me asking them to leave me alone and they won't. Then I wake up. Okay. So the thing is, Stephanie, is I'm not really sure that has anything. It's okay. It's okay. I'll answer that one. I'm not really sure that it necessarily has anything to do with the spirit world trying to drag you down. I feel like you probably have a lot of loved ones in the spirit world or connections there to the spirit world. Although when I look at your thing, you look fairly young, but I feel like you have just lots of connections in the spirit world. And I feel like that dream might be very representative, not necessarily of your loved ones visiting you, but of your grief still needing some healing there. And so it's like part of you knows what's true and part of you still needs to heal something. And odds are is that healing is like not just about their death. It's probably about stuff in their life too, things that still affect you or impact you. So that's what I'm going to say about that. And hopefully that resonates with you. And for the rest of you guys, I appreciate you all like tuning in and watching my little video and everything. I'm going to do some more live readings, but I don't know why it didn't occur to me to just do stuff I like on my YouTube channel. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to read however I want to read. And I might talk to loved ones. I might do psychic stuff. I might do cards. I might do dream interpretation. But I'll also kind of include like some other basic stuff so that you guys know how to kind of make those connections on your own. So lots of love to you guys. And, and if you know anyone living in like Grand Junction or Gunnison or Pueblo or Colorado Springs, I'm going and Casper, Wyoming and Cheyenne. I'm going to those places beginning in September and the first weekend in October. And then also my friend Anthony, who I did a demonstration with last year, he is coming He's coming to Denver and he's going to do a demonstration with me. So it's not going to be like the 10 people one. It's going to be just however many people are there. And we probably won't get to read everyone, but it's really awesome to see different mediums work. He very much reminds me of John Edwards when he does his evidence and work. So that's like in early November too. And so I just want to tell you guys that. But if any of you know anyone in those places, any of those cities, you're welcome to share my information with them. And the thing with Anthony is going to be like November 2nd or 3rd. It's all on my website. Everything I'm saying is on my website. So we're not going to do readings together though. Oh wait, I want to book you both. I can't have him come because he's flying into New Jersey. But I would happily go back and do readings at that assisted living. I love that place. So anyway, I just wanted to say that to you guys, and I hope you have a lovely day. And until we meet again, I'll just sign off for now. Bye-bye.